Moepork here with another Omen guide. In this video we'll be going over tips and strategies you can use to heighten your Haven gameplay. A lot of these videos will be theoretical situations demonstrated using an empty custom game, however most, if not all, of the concepts shown in this video have been used in my climb to Radiant. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Starting off on the attacking side, we'll go over some smoke defaults you can use. A common strategy is for an Omen to smoke off the end of C long, while another character, usually Cypher, will smoke the cross towards A site. Doing this every round, along with gaining some mid control, allows you to keep the opponent guessing which side you're going to attack, and keeps the enemy from rotating too soon to stack the site you show presence towards first. If you are the only smoker on your team, it's a good idea to take over the role of smoking the A site cross. Another default smoke is the garage window smoke. This forces any garage players to play towards the hallway or risk playing closer towards the door, allowing much easier opportunities to make picks off the garage player, should he decide to play more aggressive as a response to that smoke. Placing the smoke more towards the stairs allows you to teleport to this location without being seen from the hallway leading into the C site. Another smoke is the B site smoke. This usually forces an early Sage wall if she's defending B, allowing you to break the wall early. In addition, if the opponent is only playing one defender at B, you can use the smoke to infiltrate through, where a Sage will usually be playing the C-link side due to being able to use verticality between the boxes and the wall. Be careful of enemies playing on top of the center box, as they can peek over the smoke to shoot teammates pushing up mid. As a bonus default tool, you can decide to use your teleport to cross the A-long gap, or fake it if you decide to not want to push through. This can have a similar effect to smoking the cross and gives you the option to fully clear through the site should you happen to notice if the A players are leaving the site too early. You can combine this with the smoke at the end of C-long or any other default smoke you desire. Let's move on to attack smokes. Starting with the C-long smoke, to protect against operators posted up on the boxes, the safe bet is to place the smoke closer to your side. To min-max as much as possible, placing the smoke on this line with the edge of the smoke touching the box will prevent an operator user from peeking above the smoke unless the player jumps. It will also protect against players lurking between the box and the edge of the smoke had you offset it more away from the box. This smoke also doubles as a safe way to gain control of the ultimate orb. When smoking the garage hallway as your team is taking the site, be sure to smoke deep into the hallway to prevent characters from lurking at the entrance with a flash ability ready to snag kills. Moving towards the B smoke, even if you min-max the smoke as much as possible, an opponent posted up in the middle box will still be able to have a sightline on players coming from this angle. Be that as it may, you can force the player to take a riskier position to C by touching the edge of the smoke with the middle box. You can pre-fire this position when peeking, or given the right timing, have a delayed peeker out mid-window while your teammates make noise towards the double doors to catch that player off guard. Moving on to the A site, this heaven smoke when offset slightly to the left is useful in post-plant situations after clearing the site. Not only can you use your teleport to gain more ground, you can continue to smoke heaven with a gap on the right side and lurk there, waiting for players to peek through the window as the smoke is about to clear, netting free kills in the process if there are players moving into the smoke preemptively. When low on smokes and alive teammates, you have the option of smoking off short if you are sending your whole team through long if you want to deal with a flank threat later. This is an alternative smoke to use if you want to isolate more angles. Be wary of opponents using this smoke to lurk in. If given the opportunity to use them, one-way smokes are incredibly useful in post-plant situations if you have spare smokes to use. This smoke on A site is one example. If you want to learn more about these smokes, be sure to check out my one-way smokes guide located up here. For blind angles on attack, over on the A site, setting up into this cubby and aiming slightly towards the main box covers any players that play behind and those that try to play close right around the corner. If your team is planning on zoning behind the main box with mollies and other threats, using this blind to cover the close angles is ideal, assuming you know that nobody is hiding in short. And last but not least, this angle covers both the close left coming out of short and behind the main box. Over on the B site, setting up in the cubby area allows you to get this angle that covers the entire left side of site and covers players posted up from C-link. Lastly, on the C site, setting up in the cubby here allows you to get this angle that covers the entire right side of the site, plus partly behind the main box and logs, and is ideal when your team is planning on using zoning tools to force out players from the back of the site behind the platform. When planning on flashing out of the smoke at the end of C long, you can cover the entire left side of C, including the platform area, while your other flashes cover the closer angles and the right side of the site. Moving on to attack teleports, when attacking the B site, you can pressure more by teleporting to the back of the site and posting up for players retaking without them seeing you cross. Using your teleport during high noise volume situations will allow this position to be stronger. When pressuring the C site, teleporting to the back of the site and playing behind the double box is a great position to play, especially when they don't see you cross. Be sure to keep a second teleport in your pocket just in case you get mollied out. You can also use this position to plant for long safely without worrying about multiple angles during the plant. You can also teleport directly to default site from the garage area. Be sure to use your paranoia to blind players that are possibly playing on the logs, or you'll give your opponent a free kill. On the A site, there are a lot of teleport angles to abuse when playing a post-plant situation, plus the option of teleporting to heaven. One maneuver that can catch opponents off guard is when you're playing the crossfire angle from the cubby corner. After securing a kill, you have the option of teleporting to the double box next to the entrance while moving into the corner simultaneously, and players might think you're using your teleport to retreat instead. When using your ultimate on attack, using it towards A and C will be your primary locations to ult. On A site, you have the option of using your ultimate both heaven and hell. Since vertical audio is very ambiguous, most people will assume that your shade will be in heaven and sometimes will not look under, even if you're right beside them. Be ready to cancel in a moment's notice though. To use your ultimate in heaven, click within the L. To ult into hell, click in the box inside of it. These two ultimates are useful as your team is pushing into the site to create pressure from both sides instantly. On C site, you have the option of using your ultimate behind the double boxes as your team is pushing in after using your blind. If your opponent is hit by the blind and you're fast enough, he will not hear the initial sound, and if more noise is flooding the area, that player will most likely not hear the reforming sound either. You also have the option of ulting directly onto default site to scout for your team as you're pushing in, and immediately plant the bomb. When getting a pick on the A site, you also have the option of using your ultimate directly into spawn. The goal of this ultimate is to catch rotators coming from B before the C player rotates into the spawn you ulted into. Most people will assume that you teleported heaven or into the A site, so you can gain some unexpected free kills if your timing is on point. The fast plant strategy is primarily used on the B site and is easiest to execute when using a Sova. If the opponent's sage has already used wall and close left and right are clear, then you have free reign to teleport into this corner here, plant the spike and teleport to safety while your teammates cover pushes with these sightlines here. This is useful to commit minimal amounts of resources, saving most of your utility for post-plant while the opponent is scrambling to rotate and retake off of a sudden plant out of nowhere, putting your team in a very advantageous position to win the round. Moving over to the defense side, if you're playing C site, preferring a Vandal or Operator is usually ideal when contesting long sight lines. However, you can still play around the Phantom if the enemy is defaulting to smoking the end of the corridor, as well as playing more for closer angles. If the opponent leaves you this gap when smoking the end of C long, then you can use this as a hiding spot, as the opponent may set up for a flash play. When defending normally, you can jump peek this corner to gather info if players are showing presence at C. Also, you can play the logs angle for info, exposing yourself as little as possible, and then using this smoke here to try to prevent players from gaining more ground into the site. You can also lurk in this smoke to gain an advantage on opponents that attempt to push through, as well as denying a spike plant by gaining this angle here against the default plant spot. There are a fair amount of positions you can teleport to when using mix-ups when contesting opponents down the long sight line, with both ground level and vertical positions. Use this to your advantage to keep the opponent guessing where you will pop out next. Using your blind from behind the boxes is a very powerful tool when your opponents are pushing out of the corridor. However, if the enemy has an operator that is holding the angle from afar, this blind will not affect him and can cover your attempt to get kills. When playing retake on C, smoking the logs angle here is a great way to gain ground into the site so that you can clear the back of sight and focus on less angles. Use this smoke if you have nobody pushing out of garage. This air smoke is a good tool to widen the angle your teammates can push out from, especially when entering with a flash, while simultaneously allowing you to teleport up to this double box to reveal an unexpected angle against a player playing on the logs or close to the garage entrance. If a sage walls off garage, you can teleport to this double box. Combining the use of blind while your team is showing presence from CT can increase the chance that this play can do some damage. Most players will plant for long, so be sure to save a smoke to throw about halfway into the corridor to prevent flash plays from being more effective. You can use your ultimate towards the orb room deep into C long as the opponent pushes into C to deny a plant or force them to plant default. Since you will most likely be out of sound range unless someone is hanging back during the push, using your ult in direct line of sight is not a bad idea to gather more info during your reform while being able to output instant pressure if you draw no attention. When defending garage, using this one-way smoke is a solid staple. You can play from the window, which will protect from Raze's Roomba or Sova's Recon Arrow. If you get smoked into window, you can play from the hallway area or use this blind plus TP play if opponents are pushing in at the same time. If the opponent dumps a lot of utility to get into garage, do not feel pressure to hold your ground. You can simply add another body towards C while you are ahead in the utility economy. You can set up good blind angles when playing from garage that cover your opponents pushing into the B site, as well as those coming out of garage halls. Moving over to the B site, abusing verticality mix-ups is a powerful tool when playing from the middle area. You also have the option of using TP mix-ups when playing from either A or C link. If the opponent is executing B, you can use your mix-ups to play around a sage wall that can potentially block you off after you show presence on one side. You also have powerful blind angles to assist teammates that cover the entirety of A short, as well as garage doors and hallways. When retaking this site, you can use your blind from the C-link angle to set up this classic teleport play. Be sure to set up your smoke so that a bit of it comes through the inside of the site, which can help isolate an angle where your blind doesn't reach in order to allow your teleport a higher chance to safely go through. When contesting opponents that are playing from the window, you have the option of using an air smoke to cover your teleport to the center box while simultaneously covering the choke. When defending the A site, if playing from the heaven area and get seen and then smoked off afterwards, you have the option of teleporting down towards the main box to get a cheeky pick and then teleport back up to heaven using your opponent's smoke against them. Playing on top of the double box in front of short is a fairly powerful close angle to play, as you can hold pushes from long at an off angle while being able to check inside short every so often. Doubling up with a teammate outside of short also usually makes this hold more effective. If playing solo, you can use smokes that peek out of short a little bit to cover your position in order to catch your opponent by surprise. The same concept works in this corner when defending against long. You have the option of using your ultimate on top of the triple box outside of short after using a smoke. Since vertical sound is quite ambiguous, this is a great ultimate to use to assist your team in defending A site very quickly. When retaking A site, smoking both long and short like so is ideal, however it's unlikely that you'll have both smokes to use. Using a single smoke in this location blocks out the default site and short at the same time, allowing focus on the crossfire locations. Using a blind on this angle covers the common crossfire that players like to hold, setting up your team with a good push. Like on the C site, you can also use this air smoke to widen the choke and set your team up for flash plays while simultaneously setting yourself up for this teleport, revealing an unexpected angle into short. That about wraps up this guide. Hope this heightens your Haven gameplay. Follow the socials and join the Discord. Submit your clips in the Discord to show off, or if you want another pair of eyes to help improve your gameplay. Want to improve your teleport plays? You can also submit teleport fails to get free Omen coaching on how to get your TP plays to work more frequently in an upcoming series in the works. Once again, this is moepork. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you next time.